14-year-old scholar stabbed by a white male. This is some of the footage of them trying to subdue him. Here it is. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. Put it up full mass. London authorities have identified 14-year-old black student Daniel Anjorin as the victim who was fatally stabbed with a sword in what's being called a random attack as he walked to school on April 30th. The Rampage by 36-year-old Marcus Aurelio Monzo left 4 others wounded, including 2 police officers who were expected to survive despite dangerous, serious injuries. The kid, the 14-year-old black student, died in the hospital shortly after he was wounded by the suspect, who allegedly killed the child as he walked toward the prestigious school Bancroft, where he attended classes. Police arrested Monzo near the scene on suspicion of murder. The dual Spanish-Brazilian national from the East London borough of Newham remains in custody and was due to make his first appearance before Westminster Magistrates Court on May 2nd. Monzo faces numerous felony charges, including 1 count of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, 2 counts of grievous bodily harm, aggravated burglary, and possession of a bladed article. So viral video circulating online shows the suspect in a yellow hoodie pacing around erratically with a sword and seemingly trying to break into a residence. Despite nearby police units, no officers appeared to immediately engage with the suspect. Voices in the background can be heard ordering him to stop, but he continues walking, very determined before the video ends. Investigators looked into whether the suspect had been taken into custody just a day before the attack, but those tips turned out to be incorrect. The attack began shortly after 7 a.m. local time when the suspect crashed his van into a fence nearby Close, where a bystander was attacked and then left with a neck wound. The second victim, a 35-year-old man, was slashed on the arm inside a house in the same area. However, neither of these victims sustained any life-threatening injuries, according to the police. Next, the perpetrator made his way to the school, where he encountered Daniel and stabbed the defenseless child with the weapon. Officers with the Metropolitan Police arrived within minutes and attempted to subdue the attacker with pepper spray and a stun gun, but those tactics failed, and the man kept coming. The 2 unarmed officers were then slashed themselves, sustaining serious injuries that will require long-term rehabilitation. One of the officers, a woman, nearly lost her hand in the attack, according to reports. Notably, no shots were fired to stop the suspect, who got away briefly, but was soon surrounded by more officers in Thurlow Gardens, where a taser was used to finally take him down. Daniel's death was the second tragedy in less than a year for that same school, which already mourned the loss of Grace O'Malley Kumar, a former student who was killed in what was also called a random stabbing attack in Nottingham, June 2023. So now tributes to the departed 14-year-old poured out to his family and school this week, with loved ones describing him, quote, as a wonderful child and a dutiful son who was well liked in the community. In a letter to parents, the school's headmaster, Simon Marshall, expressed disbelief that the school was once again facing a new wave of sorrow and grief. Following this, so there are flags now at the school that were ordered to fly at half-mast. Following the tragedy, in a statement, the school described Daniel as a true scholar who had a positive nature and gentle character. In 2009, only 7% of police officers in London were trained to use firearms, according to a report from British National Policing Improvement Agency. To quickly respond to emergencies, many British police forces typically deploy special vehicles with armed officers on patrol. It's not clear what happened, whether that happened in this case, even as the suspect wielded a deadly weapon that had been used to attack 3 people at various crime scenes, including Daniel, who was killed. All right, so they're not sure if any of the officers had weapons or not as far as interaction. It could be that some of the officers did have a gun and decided not to use it. Very sad. Our heart, prayers, our positive vibrations are with those, with the family members of those who have lost a very dear young soul. All right, Francesca, thoughts?
Yeah, it's awful and it's terrifying. And I mean, if there's one thing more terrifying than a gun, it's gotta be a sword. What kind of lunatic is this? Who knows what he was motivated by, right? Initially in this country, you see a young black child, you see a crazed white man, you gotta think it might be about race, but who knows? I'm not gonna jump to that conclusion. I don't love the idea of police officers shooting dead a man, but if there was an instance to do that, it probably would have been this one. I don't love the idea that this guy gets to live the rest of his days, even if it is behind bars. But yeah, just so much love to this poor boy's family.
Yep.